The Titans in Attack on Titan are a mess. They are strong and threatening when the story wants to generate tension, and they are bumbling, harmless idiots when the writer wants to make our characters cool. Don't believe me? Let's start with the Titans being threatening. 1. This Titan jumps up to eat Eren's leg when he's traveling at great speeds. 2. This Titan flies out of nowhere at mad speeds to eat a guy who's also flying through the city at high speeds. 3. Titans grabbing people swinging in midair. 4. Titans running at full sprint to capture their prey. 5. Flying Titans. What about the bumbling sort? 1. Titans falling over easily. 2. Titans taking their time to hunt and eat. Just grab them, come on! 3. After breaking out into a sprint, this guy is chilling as he gets cut down. This one is my favorite. He's both lethargic and aggressive in the same episode. If he did this dive 30 seconds before he would have a delicious meal. This type of behavior can really affect our understanding of these creatures. Do they want to eat humans or not? It makes it difficult to be invested in the story when you have no idea what they will be doing next. Plans created by the characters don't succeed or fail based on logic you could follow and how well the Titans were outsmarted. They work because the writer nerfed the Titans. Attacks made against the Titans don't work or fail based on skill or tactics. The outcome is based on the writer's whims. Imagine if any predators in the real world behaved this way. Lions that slowly strut up to their prey. It's ridiculous. Attack on Titan is not a masterpiece. In fact, it's pretty badly written, and I have had enough of people praising it. My mission is to show you that Hajime Ishiyama has gotten away with murder, and that from the first episode, this show was bad. On our journey through the story, we will be joined by TotallyNotMark, an anime YouTuber and a massive fan of the show.
Attack on Titan is my favorite story of all time.
He'll tell us why he thinks it's great, and I will tell you why he is wrong. All right, let's get started. We are first introduced to Eren Yeager, our main character for the show, and to the world of Attack on Titan. Humanity has lived behind massive 50-meter tall walls, protecting it from man-eating titans for over 100 years. This is straightforward and effective world building. We have set up multiple mysteries. What are the Titans? Where did they come from? How were the walls built? Is there anything else outside the walls? Our main character, Eren Yeager, is introduced sleeping on the job, a bold move from the writer to introduce Eren as lazy. But let's see where this goes. After collecting some firewood, Eren and Mikasa come across the Garrison, having a drink whilst on duty, where they exposit a little, telling each other things they would already know.
Of course.
You kids care for a swig?
Aren't you on watch?
Yep.
How do you expect to fight if you're so loose on your feet? What if they break through the walls? We'd be sitting ducks on your watch!
Listen, the only thing they've done to the wall in the past 100 years is scratch at it.
What have any of you actually done to be ready for them? Dad says you've got to stay sharp!
Ah, good, Dr. Yeager. Yeah, well, can't argue with a man who single-handedly spared us from the plague. Look at it this way, huh? If a garrison's actually doing what people think it oughta, we're up a creek. Personally, I take a lot of stock in being called a freeloader. It means things are good. It's how I can measure peace of mind.
Good? We live in a cage. All we do is eat and sleep. That's it. End of story. We have the peace of mind of livestock.
Man, you were right about the kid having fire.
Careful not to cry it out.
After he is done yelling at them for being lazy and telling them his worldview, we are shown Eren's idolization of the Scout Regiment, soldiers who venture outside the walls to kill Titans to regain more land for humanity. We learn that Eren wants to join the Scouts, but as they arrive, we see there's little glory to their work.
I'm sorry. It's all that was left of him.
Tell me my son stood his ground to the bitter end, that his death meant something. Tell me his sacrifice gave us a better chance.
He was brave! But his sacrifice meant nothing. So with all our losses, it's ever the same. The day was lost! We have nothing! Your son died because of me! I sent him to his death! I sent all of them to their deaths! And there's nothing to show for it!
Many men died, and according to their leader, it was all for naught. This is not bad at all. Although we got there through some clunky exposition, we learned a lot about the characters in this world. Harness is a chill guy who likes to play cards with his friends and occasionally solicits young kids to drink with him. He's a slacker, and he's not ashamed to admit it. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the Scouts. They are looked upon as fools for venturing outside the walls, and their expeditions are often failures. This serves to raise the stakes of the Titan threat. This is minor, but it would have been more effective to remove this shot of the Titans scratching at the walls. It diminishes the mystique around the Titans, and this episode really relies on them being threatening. We also get to meet the rest of Eren's family. Mikasa is his physically capable adoptive sister, his doctor dad, Grisha, and his stay-at-home mom, Carla. They seem like a happy enough family until Mikasa snitches on Eren's goal to join the Scouts.
So, Eren's thinking about joining the Scouts.
Which I assume she has known for a while now, considering how much he has been talking about it. But that's fine. The characters know it's the pilot episode, so they want to create as much drama and exposition as possible. Sorry, I meant the writer knew that. Anyways, Eren's mom yells at Eren for this, and Eren, who loves to yell at people, doesn't like getting yelled at. Yells back at his mom.
Get that ridiculous thought out of your head this instant, young man. No son of mine is going to be fodder. Do I make myself absolutely clear?
Stop yelling at me!
Don't.
Not liking all the yelling going on, Grisha calmly asks Eren why he wants to join the Scouts.
Yeah, I get it, okay? But it's gotta be better than this life! I'm not stupid. I know it's ugly out there. I know there's death around every corner. But we can't just give up on it. Because otherwise this nightmare's never gonna end!
Eren then yells at him. Having had enough of the yelling, he shows off the MacGuffin of the show and leaves to get milk as his wife yells at him some more.
Excuse me.
Darling, wait! Scold the boy, for heaven's sake! Mikasa, the boy needs to be protected from himself. Promise me, whatever happens, I can count on you to have his back.
Anyways, Eren's mom yells at Mikasa to take care of Eren. Obviously, she's too busy being a housewife to have time to parent him. Then we are introduced to Armin Arlet, the third main character, who destroys his opponents with facts and logic as they beat the hell out of him. Boy, genius Armin thinks the walls won't hold forever, even though it is later established that for the past 100 years, they have never laid even a scratch on it. So I don't know why he would think that, unless, of course, he has read the script. Anyways, on a completely unrelated note, as the trio is enjoying being alive and the wonders that come with that, the Colossal Titan arrives.
That wall's 50 meters high! Oh, God. It's a Titan!
kicks the gate, causing debris to fly everywhere and massive amounts of damage. Eren immediately runs to his house, finding his mom sleeping under the collapsed roof. It's very unlucky for him that the roof on their house collapsed. Very unlucky that his mom wasn't at home. Very unlucky that she didn't instantly get crushed and died. And very coincidental that the Titan who ate his mom is his dad's ex. We'll talk about that later. But I say all of that to say this. For this character-defining moment to happen, the world had to really bend itself over backwards. Looking a little closer, why does Eren and his family live here? His father is a doctor who works in one of the inner walls where the rich live. He saved a whole district from the plague. How did this guy not move his family out of this dump?
Huh?
Anyway, there's a lot to compliment about this sequence as well. Realizing the danger his mother would be in, ignoring his own safety and disregarding everyone running in the opposite direction, Eren sprints towards his house, and Mikasa, looking out for Eren as his mother had asked, follows behind him.
House is in that direction. Mom's all by herself. Corner, and it's gonna be standing there in one piece, just like always. Mom! Mom!
Eren, wait.
Mikasa, grab that end and hoist with everything you got. Oh no.
You've got to get out of here. Eren, just take Mikasa and run! Now!
I want to more than anything! But first I need you on your feet!
Sweetie, listen. Honest! Take the children and get them out of here!
Come on, Carla, that's not our only option. Hey, I'm a trained soldier. My skill set is killing titans and saving lives!
No way! Don't do this, please!
Nothing fancy. Just take it down. Get all three of them out of harm's way. Make good on the debt you owe.
This is excellent characterization. Playing on the theme of the insignificance of humans, Eren is not powerful enough to lift the roof off of his mother, Hannes is not brave enough to fight off the Titans, and humanity is not strong enough to defend against the oncoming onslaught. All they can do is flee whilst Carla gets eaten. She clasps her mouth so they can't hear and begs them not to leave her. This scene gets me every time. The music is baller, the voice acting is excellent, and these shots are just visual candy. I can say whatever I want about the writing of this show, but the direction, voice acting, and music selection is really good in certain places. Anyway, let's check in on Mark and see what he says about all of this.
What did Attack on Titan do with its first episode to show people that it's worth sticking around for? Well, by finding a way to demonstrate its best attribute, its ability to deliver a twist and find deeper meaning in the most unlikely of places.
What? What does that mean, Mark? Oh, okay. I guess you won't explain that. We'll remember that for later.
For me, Attack on Titan's strongest elements were always how it adhered to the internal logic of its established world. Pulling off twist after twist, ascribing meaning to the most mundane or trivial of circumstances. If you were to look at stories like One Punch Man, One Piece, or My Hero Academia, these are all tales that through one way or another manage to communicate effectively in their own openings what their respective stories are about and what a potential reader or viewer stands to get out of their material. However, Attack on Titan demonstrating a successful long-term subversion of expectations isn't exactly something one can demonstrate within the confines of a single episode or chapter, so how did Isayama overcome this? He starts his episode with a flash forward to a big cataclysmic event. And this is an extremely common technique in storytelling. Start with something impressive to help garner attention right off the bat. However, what makes this an exceptionally great choice of impactful moment is that this moment, this inciting incident, while being paramount to kicking off the events that follow, also gets paid off within this same very episode, establishing for new viewers a sense that they are in safe hands and that if they go along with Isayama on this gruesome, tragic, and twisted adventure, he will prove to us all that from the very beginning, he's known exactly how he wanted to end.
Not to be that guy, but 20 minutes is not long term. In fact, it takes bigger balls as a writer not to show your viewers anything cool until the story calls for it. So here's a point I want to call back to hours from now. Knowing how you want to end the story matters less than how you will get to the ending, because as we will see through this series here, AOT shambles its way to the finishing line. Now, in his video, Mark loves to compare Attack on Titan with other shows like Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, and so on. I will mostly skip over this as it is irrelevant to our discussion. I take stories at face value and analyze it on its merits. It doesn't matter to me what the rules of storywriting are. Writers are and should be allowed to be creative with their stories. I have little expectation, and I don't care what people say they expect or want from the story, only what the story is. This is why you might notice that Mark's video is massive, but will only be covering a fraction of that. Most of his videos talk about how things made him feel, how it shattered his expectations, the production of the show, and some of the cultural impact of the show, all of which I couldn't care less about. During his thesis, Mark claims that Eren is an active character forced to be reactive. So you mean he is reactive with extra steps? Regardless, this statement is provably false. Eren has to react to the actions of the Colossal Titan, if you are not following. Active characters kick off the plot. In a quiet world, they kick in the door and enforce their will. Even as he says here, he's reacting to the situation his mother is in. Nope, wrong again. Harness represents laziness, like what you said here. Now that we have reviewed the events of the inciting incident, we can use the power of hindsight to determine whether this fits with the grander plot and all the reveals we get later in the story. Before we do that, I need to tell you a story. Now that we have reviewed the events of the inciting incident, we can use the power of hindsight to determine whether this fits with the grander plot and all the reveals we get later in the story. Before we do that, I need to tell you a story. A long time ago, there was a nation of Eldia, a nation of people who can turn into titans. They dominated the world with their titan powers, and no one could stand up to them. They wiped out countless nations, peoples, and cultures in their quest for dominance. After generations of domination, a new king rose, sickened by the violence his people perpetrated. So he took a vow of peace. To achieve his goal, he took as many of his people, the Eldians, to the island of Paradis, where with the powers of the founding Titan, which allowed him to control other Titans, he erected the three walls, Maria, Rose, and Sina, to protect his people. Before closing himself from the world, he left a warning. If anyone would ever threaten his peace, he would release the tens of millions of Titans that made up the walls to destroy the world. Although that is not the whole story, it should help us answer more questions. 1. Who are the armored and colossal Titans? They are Titan warriors from a land called Marley, people who the Eldians previously dominated. 2. Why did they destroy the wall? To recover the powers of the founding Titan and use them to destroy their enemies. 3. Aren't they afraid of the king's warning? And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the question that breaks this show's plot. With their knowledge, Marley assumes that if they ever attack Paradis, the king within the walls would destroy the world. Otherwise, why would they wait over 100 years before trying to recover such a valuable weapon? Furthermore, Marley has been creating Titans and sending them to Paradis for decades, which explains where all the Titans come from. But tell me, dear viewer, if someone sent these monstrosities to your doorstep, would you not consider this a good reason to start a war? Or at the least, Marley should have figured the warning was a bluff, which it is, and sent an entire army to take over Paradis and recover the founder. 4. If they wanted the founder, whom they suspected to be the king, why didn't they sneak in and kidnap him? This is another gaping hole in the story. We will see later that the Titan warriors eventually partake in espionage, but never investigate or try to infiltrate the royal family. Their first course of action is to announce themselves, slaughter countless lives, and provoke an enemy they could never beat. This simply makes no sense. In short, Marley should never have sent the Colossal Titan to destroy Wall Maria. From what they know, this would have triggered an attack from the founder that would have destroyed the world. And if they didn't find the threat credible, they should have attacked a long time ago. And even if they did, it makes more sense to try and recover the target instead of